Okay guys, for Sunday, April 4th, some of you may be confused about what is actually due. Now, what I want to see Sunday, full size, meaning 18 by 24, bulletproof, preliminary drawing of your composition. Everything's worked out already. You've already found all your proportions. You don't have to go in and start shading because it's drawing paper. It's going to be crappy and kind of a waste of time. But proportions. I want you to have worked out your proportions. Get a line drawing, not on charcoal paper, but on drawing paper. I did my sketches. You did your sketches. I worked out proportions. I showed you a little bit about that. I'm going to follow up this with a longer video of me doing this real quick. Sunday, I want this full size, proportioned out, plotted out, ready to go. The next step will be charcoal paper after you've turned this in and I've checked your proportions and given you feedback. Then we're going to get this transferred to charcoal paper. I'll show you how to do that next. And then we're going to be on charcoal paper the rest of the year. So you've got your skate to do. And I directed you to Ryan's video about proportioning the skate, plotting that out. And up next is my video about proportioning and plotting out your still life. All right, guys. This is where I want you to be on Sunday. I've gone through all my sketches. You saw me do that. Then I moved on to full size. Okay, full size. By full size, I mean 18 by 24. This is newsprint here that you're seeing. Now I'm going to a drawing paper. I have not yet touched my charcoal paper, because we want to get this bulletproof before we go to charcoal paper. So Sunday, April 4th, this is where I want you to be. I want you to be on a drawing paper, full size 18 by 24. Now this is like my fourth time going through this stuff for myself, and I found all my proportions through sketching and then through mapping out with scrap paper. So let's see, first I found the center of the composition, the center of the page, because I wanted to see where everything lined up to center. I can see this large cube started right of center. So that's where I went, knowing that I'm just to the right of center. And I even measured it out. So here's half a page. There's where the line starts. Now I'm looking at, about an eighth of half the page. So I know it sounds weird, but think about it. 1, 2, well, let's see, 4. You can even do stuff like this when you're doing proportions. Now I'm just showing you how to rough out proportions. Here's half, about half of that. Divide those into 2, that'll give me eighths. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. I'm an eighth. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. 1/8 way in between half and the edge is where I started my big cube. Then I could see that this cube extends over to just about half of that. So I'm around there. Now, that's the width of that side of the cube. What's that compare to the other side? Well, you can see that the left side is wider than the right side. So I go, okay, here's about my cube. I want to add some. That's about the width of my cube. So what I did was go through my verticals first and how they line up across the composition. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit so that I can fast forward. So what you're doing is you're using little tricks on your image to measure against itself. You know, there's no like math way to do it. This is how you just compare widths to each other so you can start to get an idea of how things relate to each other, because that's more important. That's most important. Okay, I know that vertical starts about less than halfway between the center and back edge of that cube. There's about half. I find about half. I know it's less than half. I know that vertical's about there. Okay. Again, I'm going to try the width of that right plane of the big cube compared to the width of the brick. I see I got about 1/5 extra for the brick. I hope I'm describing that right. You see what I mean by 1/5. So there's the width of the cube I've drawn. I think, about 1/5 more than that. It's about that wide. Okay. So now I can see I was measuring from here to here. That vertical is going to be about there. All right. How much is this side in relation to that side? Again, looks like it's about 1/5 more. I'm just using scrap paper. There's my whole side of the cube brick. There it is divided in quarters at about 1/5. So I know that vertical is going to be around there. I'm not worried about angles yet. I'm just trying to go across and plot out my vertical spaces. Here's a vertical space. The base of that ball. I know it starts just slightly to the left of the center of that giant cube. I know it occupies about half of this plane. Measure that out. About half is here. I know that vertical's about there. Now this is how I do it. You may do it a little different. The point is, we're just finding markers within the composition that we can use as landmarks to measure other items against. And maybe you've seen Ryan's skate video, and he's, I mean, that guy's amazing. He can explain things better. He's an incredible artist. He's been doing it a long time. So, other things, now you start to figure out where things line up horizontally. The first thing I see is that the top of this steeple thing lands just about, maybe a little lower than center of that sphere. What did I say? Top of that is just about lines up with the center of the sphere. I know I've got approximate angles like that, and we know how to find this. Right, we practiced that. In fact, I'm a little off here, but we know about that. Now we know about how to draw a sphere, and I'm going so fast here. Now the right way, the way I did on my sketch up here, is of course finding center, marking off an edge, marking off that other edge, marking the bottom, and marking the top. So, okay, we've got this troublesome shape. Now the way I'm thinking about this is where is the right edge of it and where's the left edge. Now I know, what do I have on here that might tell me where to go? I've already determined the left side of that cube, and I can see that this hangs over just a bit, so I know I want to come into there with it. I'm checking how this lines up with that edge. Yep, that's about right. Now I know this jar halfway point is just to the right of that vertical. I know it hangs over the edge of that brick by about twice, from the middle of the brick to the back side of the brick to the edge of that jar. I'll give myself 2 of those. See? 1, 2. Find that left edge. And I know this jar occupies about that space. Now this is all stuff you'd have done on your sketches. But again, I just wanted to show you more about finding proportions within the image. Now I'm going to start to look at these angles. That brick, I'm using my pencil, carrying that angle over, and you see I was about right on that sketch. So now I've already, you can see that I'm going over some lines that I've already done because I just wanted to show you a couple of little tricks and tell you where you should be Sunday. So guys, one stupid thing I forget to mention: hang up your drawings, stand back or sit back and stare at them. Yeah, that's your assignment. Stare at your drawings. But for real, like, that's when you find, you know, that's when you're looking at all your proportions. We spend so much time with our noses right to the paper that I don't know if we take the time to tack it up and just look. All right, stare at your drawings.